Hello again. I'm back with another sketchbook flip through. This time I'm showing you a larger moleskin sketchbook than the last flip through, which was this pocket watercolor sketchbook. Also by Moleskine, more around 5 by 7 dimensions here. Nice sticker that I got in Boulder, and I placed it on this sketchbook because a lot of the sketchbook was completed doing different trips. So I actually started it a long time ago in 2015 and put it on a shelf after a trip and brought it down for 5 more paintings, put it back on a shelf until the next trip. So here I started in England with some poor architectural pen work, but I do enjoy this faint sketch of Tower Bridge in the background there. I never went back into these. I just kind of captured what I could in the moment to make a memory, make a record of a memory. Some tree studies, since the tree shapes are just so different in England than they are in North America. Rolling hills of the Cotswolds. I don't know why I didn't use this side of most of the pages. I don't know if I thought maybe this side was better quality. Nevertheless, I will stop doing that. I'm going to use both sides of the page going forward. This is the Swan Hotel, just a view of the backyard where you take your food and your drink. I love in England how many crazy vines they have over all the architecture. You can see my watercolor style in 2015 was it almost like I was coloring in the spots. It was very controlled and very light and very, very little layering, just sort of mixing a color and plopping it down. There's more vines here, the same backyard of the Swan Hotel Beer Gardens. This was just a regular suburban backyard with a little Buddha sculpture, more vines, and this adorable bush in a pot. I love that. I love that yard so much. That was it for England. Then I went to LA, and while waiting to check in the lobby of this hotel was this crazy fountain of this line. So I captured as much as I could in the moment with marker of the Millennium Biltmore Hotel. And this is just a view from a coffee shop. Outside, some people sitting, and it's kind of sketchy, kind of loose. And a graphite sketch of some people on the bus back from Santa Monica. And some sketches from a bus stop of carvings in a tree, the odd leaves. This is a little sketch I did sitting on a bench next to this path in Santa Monica, right next to the beach. And a really rough sketch inside UCLA coffee shop with all the students working. Back to England in 2016, so a whole year later. I actually specifically ate lunch on a boat just so I could sketch from the boat, and it's very awkward. There's a lot of things going on architecturally. I probably was really out of practice, but I do like that I captured this wicked street light and the essence of some of the architecture in the distance there. Certainly more contrast in these, and just more looseness of the watercolor application. Some shadowing here. This duck and this park, labeled duck and park in case I forgot. View from a pub of another pub. England is great that way. Every corner. Canada goose, goslings, American coot, and duck studies. It's very specific. I really love this sketch. I like how the watercolor, the wet on wet application created all this blooming effect, and I think the addition of the pen to kind of make this architecture of this crazy giant bridge pop was a good choice. It's one of my favorites in the book. Just the side of an apartment building with these crazy vines again. Next was Santa Fe. I went in 2016 and was part of 50 painters selected or accepted rather into this 10-day plein air painting festival. And here are just some of the composition studies I did before I jumped into each painting. It might look like it's no big deal, but this can make or break a painting. It's a great way to zone in on what you actually want to focus on in that painting. So I highly, highly, highly suggest doing thumbnails for even your simple sketches. This is when I got the new Schminke palette. I wanted to try the paints because I heard they were really great quality, but I also really just wanted this amazing, like, special case, special edition case. It holds a lot of paint though. It's really great. So that's my little swatch notes about that. And then back in Lubbock, getting back into watercolor after a hiatus during my master's degree. Now you'll see a shift into gouache painting. I was using this book when I went to teach a week-long workshop at Idlewild Arts Academy in California. So from here on out, we're doing demos with the students, etc. These were actually done just before I left to remind myself and get versed in the layering techniques, etc., in a way that I could teach them to others. So I actually popped onto Skillshare, great resource for learning just about anything, and I did these demos from other people's videos. And I'm actually in the process of making my own Skillshare class. I'll be sure to post a link when it is published, so if you're interested in learning watercolor with me, or you already have a bit of watercolor experience and you want to just practice new techniques or paint along with me, I'll make sure to include that link. These are part of a little experiment and a little exercise that I love to do with students, where you swap out a color so they kind of create these surreal landscapes, but in a very expressive palette. These are views around Lubbock that I painted from photographs that I took on a morning run. Another view from Lubbock, actually not painted from photograph. This was done on plein air at Dunbar Lake. It's not polished by any means. I would definitely go back in and fix the washes and such, but that's not really what I was doing that for. I was just getting out there to take notes and remind myself all the most important things about plein air painting, as I hadn't done it in quite a while. Now I'm physically in California and going over these techniques with my students while they watch over my shoulder. Some washes with water and white, demo I did on the first day. It's kind of rough, but I really like this painting. It's got the quality of contrast in there. Value studies, as I already mentioned. Composition studies are very, very important, and value studies are just about as important, if not more. You can see the steps I took. First, I loosely sketch them, number them, shade them in, and then move on to painting the value study. And then doing, this was supposed to be a space to do the color version. I moved on. I think we ran out of time. This was some brush experimentation with the different brushes we had for the workshop. I did a color contrasts lesson and another value study for this painting. So let's look at that again. Just black and white, very sketchy, but I think it lent itself to improving that sketch. A student of mine gave me this lovely photograph of Keats Peak, which is a famous rock climbing feature in that part of California, and I did a couple quick gouache sketches of it. Here I was showing texture techniques with saran wrap and just ideas how to affix little photographs or other memories to your visual journal, how to quickly make gestures of humans in the landscape, a mountain in watercolor, another mountain in watercolor, and ink. I like to add pen and ink to a lot of my watercolor sketches. and that is actually what my first Skillshare class will be on, is watercolor landscapes in with ink as well. This is a view from California. Back in Lubbock, I'm sketching my supplies and my beverages, which is a very common thing for me. Thinking of doing a little greeting card series, a tea themed one and a landscape themed one. So if either of those interest you, please leave me a comment below, and I can let you know when I have them printed. This is a little glass jar of loose leaf tea. I'm a big tea drinker. And the last page is just a really quick sketch of a computer, because that's how I was going to spend my day. But before starting my day, I really wanted just to make a quick sketch in watercolor. Thanks for watching this. I really appreciate it. Please leave me any comments you'd like below, and stay tuned for the next sketchbook flip through. It'll be coming soon.